Well, when Matt Schaap asked me to give a talk today about foreign trade, I didn't realize we were going to be following Donald Trump. What a tough act to follow. But isn't he doing a great job? I also didn't realize, because this is not necessarily my specialty, that Matt was throwing me into a vast, complex, and treacherous ocean known as foreign trade. So if you're here, thanks, Matt. President Trump is changing America's trade policy. We're no longer globalists. Instead, we're putting America and Americans first. This is the right thing to do. But let's do it in a way that's smart and strategic. What we're doing now in the trade area doesn't seem that focused on the big things. Tariffs on steel from Hong Kong, Venezuela, Turkey, Vietnam? Really? Who's targeting little guys? Why are we targeting little guys who can't hurt us? What does that get us? It's not getting us jobs. There are about 16 times more people employed in industries that use steel than those who make steel. In 2002, when Bush imposed tariffs on steel, America lost 200,000 jobs. Here's where they're getting it right. President Trump is right that trade deficits matter. A nation's strength is primarily based on its productive capacity. Warren Buffett has warned that America's net worth is being transferred abroad at alarming rates by trade deficits and paying for them by going ever deeper into debt. That was in 2003. Bilateral trade agreements, reciprocal trade, it's unclear whether this will help or hurt our deficit problem, but it's clear that we're not focused enough on our biggest trade problem. We're missing the elephant in the room, and President Trump brought it up. In one word, China. In my years of business, I've learned the value of focusing on one big thing that, if accomplished, most of the small things don't matter. Today, that one big thing for the United States is getting our strategy right to deal with the economic and territorial ambitions of China. How we engage China is the critical issue of our time. My economist friends tell me that I thought it was $375 billion. Donald Trump tells me it's $500 billion, and he should probably know. Trade deficit with China doesn't matter. That we should aim for a world that is one big, happy, free trade zone. Paul Krugman tells us countries are not to any important degree in competition with each other. But the Chinese, they're not spending much time curled up with David Ricardo's 1817 essay on the theory of comparative advantage, that a country should export and produce only things it can produce more efficiently than other countries, and everything else it should import. This is the one theory most Western economists agree upon. But the Chinese don't. Or even if they do, they don't wait for comparative advantage to happen spontaneously. They've been making it happen. For over 4 decades, China's trade is meant to serve the Chinese strategic global agenda. They see trade as a form of warfare. It's a zero-sum game with winners and losers. For better or worse, it's a worldview that's not in sync with our Western experience or understanding. China has made it clear that it seeks its global dominance in a wide range of advanced industries. Their Made in China 2025, that's 7 years from now, strategy aims at every advanced industry that the West leads in. Semiconductors, computers, software, biotech, pharmaceuticals, electrical cars, batteries, robots, drones, the Internet of Things, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. Our U.S. Trade Representative, Bob Lighthizer, says the sheer scale of Chinese coordinated efforts to develop their economy, to subsidize, to create national champions, to force technology transfer, and distort markets in China and throughout the world is a threat to the world trading system that is unprecedented. For conservatives, How does allowing China to constantly rig trade in its favor advance the core conservative goal of making markets more efficient? And it is the Communist Party and not the market that runs China and its capital allocation process. How do we confront this? For too long, U.S. policymaking has been siloed. Diplomacy, defense, trade, economics, cultural interests, they've been treated as separate things. The State Department has seen advancing American economic and business interests as beneath them. While we have our own fair share of special interest cronyism in the United States, nevertheless, we have largely trusted the market to advance our interests. I am emphatically not recommending that we engage in a trade war or any kind of war with China. What I do believe is that we need to recognize this issue and develop strategies to deal with Chinese mercantilism that will benefit all Americans. While I am not a big fan of creating more government agencies as a libertarian, this is not an issue the public sector or private sector can address alone. We need to create an office of strategic engagement with China, which for a start would include representatives from state, treasury, commerce, energy, and the U.S. Trade Representative, as well as representatives from all of America's strategically important industries. We also need to engage with our free trading allies, particularly in Europe, to join us in this fight against Chinese mercantilism. China has a plan. It's time we have one as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.